Today, I'm reacting to Linkin Park Given Up Live. Now, Linkin Park holds a very dear place in my heart. It's one of those bands that I've been listening in my teen years, in my childhood, and even dearer to my heart is Chester Bennington, their amazing frontman, the voice of an angel and a demon at the same time. And if you're watching this video when it was uploaded, the day that it was uploaded, that means that you're watching it exactly 5 years since we lost Chester. Now, I've been feeling down these couple of days, even before I remembered it was actually, this time of the year. And I think that every time of the year, around the 20th of July, I'm feeling down, and I'm pretty sure it has to do with Chester. I remember very clearly the day when Chester died. I was actually working at this music festival, and everybody was having fun, dancing, singing, and I was just so sad. I just couldn't do. And honestly, Chester's death hit me more than some of my, family members. I mean, I was so connected to the guy, to his lyrics, and he was just a wonderful person. And thank you so much, Chester, for all the music, for all the lyrics. It's kind of sad the way it all ended, knowing how much people he helped with his music. But today, I want to celebrate him. Let's try to stay a bit more positive, and let's celebrate one of his more iconic vocal performances. So I haven't listened to this live performance in particular, but I know that Given Up is one of the craziest Linkin Park songs to sing. So without further ado, let's celebrate Chester and let's see how great he is actually live. This one's for Chester.
Day's been laid to waste in my disgrace. Stuck in my head again. Feels like I'll never leave this place. There's no escape. I'm my own worst enemy. I've given up. I'm sick of feeling. Is there nothing you can say? Take this all away. I'm suffocated. Tell me what the fuck is wrong with me?
Okay, let me stop it here for a second. Now, I know the studio version, and it's incredible. The song's so powerful. I remember the day when I first heard it. Actually, a guy, one of my friends at the time, played it on his mobile phone, and just the start, and that kind of clock sound as well, I think it's mixed in the studio version. It sounded so killer. I mean, kind of simple, but it just perfect song. Perfect song. Now, speaking of Chester's vocals, these sound so close, dead close to the studio version. He's incredible in this version. There are a couple of versions in Given Up where he's doing it with a bit less energy, but here he's not wasting any time. Here he is not saving any nuance of energy. He's really giving us all of there is, and you can. I mean, I guess now when we know what happened, but you can really feel the pain here. I mean, talking about Chester, I always knew that he was struggling with pain. He was struggling with drug addiction before and stuff like that, but he always found a way to pull through. If you remember Battle Symphony, all the world in front of me, if my armor breaks, I'll fuse it back together. He's that kind of person. So, again, let's focus on the positive things. This is such a powerful song, and the meaning behind the song is not to be very I can forgive any kind of small imperfections when it comes to pitch in this song, because the point of it is not to be correct. I mean, there's a few very tiny things at the beginning that are not perfectly pitched, but who cares? It's really not that kind of song. It's not a ballad, so you need to be very beautiful with it. It's just the song that you want to show real, raw crazy raw emotions. And his singing is very, very raw. Even in technical terms, he's really pushing it a lot from the throat. But the amazing thing is, if any of us tried to push it from the throat, we still couldn't reach these notes. Most of us couldn't. Because, Chester he just had that very high chest scream, which is incredibly rare. I really don't know too many singers that can do it. So just because I really like this song, let's start it from the beginning, enjoy, and let's talk a bit about it. Even this riff with a palm mute. So even just that, very raw. The guitar, the drums, it's not too complicated. The drum is just doing like, that's kind of a pretty logical thing to do in this kind of song. They could have gone into many different directions, but they really kept it simple, and that makes the song even more powerful. Just raw, real, perfect. So, here he's not completely on pitch, but I really don't give a damn. But since I'm a vocal coach and that's the point of this channel, I just wanted to mention that. But really, I don't really care. That's the start of the song, and I think he was, just getting into it. Later on, it's like dead on. A bit low, but now. But this is perfect.
In my disgrace, stuck in my head again. Feels like I'll never leave this place.
Now, he's really aggressive here. I've never seen him like this in any other concert. He's really hitting his head like this is... He was really struggling at this one.
Waste in my disgrace, stuck in my head again. Feels like I'll never leave this place. There's no escape. I'm my own worst enemy.
But the scream.
I've given up. I'm sick of feeling. Is there nothing you can say? Take this all away. I'm suffocated. Tell me what the fuck is wrong with me.
So when it comes to Chester's screams, there are, at least in this part, two kind of things that you want to think about. Maybe three. So one of them is his voice is very, very frontal here. So much that he's kind of focusing it a bit upward, and you can feel it that is resonating a lot to his nose. So much that his nose is even getting a bit more red. His whole face, but his nose especially. And the other thing is when he's screaming, he's doing a bit of a wider scream, and this last one, I'm going to talk about when we get to it again. So listen.
I'm sick of feeling.
Very nosy.
Is there nothing you can say?
So this say is a bit more sang scream. It's screamed, it has distortion, but it still has a clean part to it.
Take this all
Even this one,
away. I'm suffocated.
So distortion mixed with clean. Very hard thing to do. Basically like you have two amps at the same time, but talking about his voice.
Tell me what the fuck is wrong.
And then you just have a clear distortion, brutal and very throaty. As I said, not many people can do it like this as Chester can. It's like, it's harder to do this kind of scream than do a very metal scream. I'm not going to talk what's harder. Maybe it's not the same for everybody, but I think that it's harder to do this sometimes than to be completely in an all screaming song. Now, why I think that this is often harder than having a whole song screamed is because when you have a whole song in the kind of growl and scream territory, you're setting up your whole vocal position and you're basically keeping it throughout the whole song in basically the same manner. But if you're having clean, distorted, and stuff like that, it's very tricky to switch between them that fast.
Take this all away.
let's say, semi-distortion, complete distortion, and then again semi-distortion, but a bit wider. Wider.
I don't know what to take. Thought I was focused, but I'm scared. I'm not prepared. I hyperventilate, looking for help somehow, somewhere, and no one cares. I'm my own worst enemy. I've given up.
I love this song.
I'm sick of feeling. Is there nothing you can say? Take this all away. I'm suffocated. Tell me what the fuck is wrong with me.
Interesting. So he's trying to do basically the same thing as the first time, but this second chorus is a bit more aggressive, and you can hear it especially at the last scream. So the last scream of the first chorus was kind of wider and, a bit clearer to understand, but this one was definitely just insanely tight. Listen and watch his stroke. And I mean, Chester, what the hell? The dude is just jumping on stage, doing spin stuff. I mean, I remember this one time when he was jumping on the stage, and he actually broke his foot a bit. So he's definitely not. He's not the one that's going to save energy, because he wants to deliver the best to the crowd. He really respected the crowd, and he respected everybody with the lyrics, and that's why, beside being an incredible singer, he was meant to be a frontman. He was just a darn good dude for that position. And man, I miss. Listen to the last scream. This one. It's not as wide as the first one. If you want, we can compare it. So listen to the first one. This one is wider and a bit clearer, but this one is more intense. Here you can hear a bit more of an E sound. In the first one, you can hear a bit more of an A sound. And now to the best part. Man. The problem with Chester is that you don't know what's better, his clean notes or his distortion. This dude can just do anything. And this takes so much energy, so much stamina. I mean, just doing this one song would drain you, would completely leave you, like you would just want to sleep after this. Imagine doing a whole concert, like 2 hour concert, and having songs like this. Oh man. Very clean and a bit deeper and a rounded scream. So very important part when he's screaming. He's not singing "Put me out of my misery," because E is very, very hard to do. E is already very, very sharp, very hard to control. And even when you're just singing an E, people, when they want to do it for a longer term or when they want to hold it, they usually sing it, a bit more open. They're almost never going to sing it as E. They're either going to sing it as E, a bit more rounded, so maybe a bit more to the A or an O. And here you can hear Chester singing misery. So almost like he's going into an A vowel. Even here. Jeez. So definitely going into an A more than an E. And that's the only way that you can really do it, you know. I think that if you try to sing in misery, it would sound awful. I mean, you can try it. I'm sure that it would sound awful. So this is the only way that it can go well with the whole song and to do it this long. In the studio version, they've connected these two screams. They sound like one. In the live version, at least in this one, he's doing them separately. It's very hard to do it in one take. I'm not really sure if it's even possible. I think it's about 17 seconds long. That's the thing. But even doing it from two takes is very hard because it almost leaves no space for you to breathe. So he's really doing a very short inhale and then he's singing the second one. Very short inhale. And he's still managing to hold it this long. Incredibly hard.
I've given up. I'm sick of feeling. Is there nothing you can say? Take this all away. I'm suffocated. Tell me what the fuck is wrong with me?
Man, the part where I laughed a bit is just that I'm laughing of how insane his voice is. I mean, it's so crazy that my head can't comprehend the craziness.
I've given up. I'm sick of feeling. Is there nothing you can say? Take this all away.
The energy of this guy.
Suffocated. Tell me what the fuck is wrong with me?
Ooh. Chester, thank you for the music. Man, I love you. Thank you. And for everybody else, subscribe, like this video, share it around. If you want to support the channel, consider checking out my Patreon page. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.